F-16 for violating its airspace, and Turkey, the country that borders Syria, is also a NATO member. Now, while Turkey says its action was not directed against any country, the Russians are taking the matter seriously, especially since Russia's role in Syria has been questioned in the past by primary NATO leader, the United States. Now, France continues to build a coalition against ISIS that appears independent of NATO, even though most of the countries on board are NATO members. All this in the aftermath of the Paris attacks, day 11.
While Russian and French airstrikes continue on ISIS-held positions in Syria, Turkey on Tuesday shot down a Russian military jet, which it says violated its airspace near the Syrian border. The Russians confirmed the fighter was theirs, sending helicopters in search of the pilots. It comes a week after Ankara had summoned the Russian ambassador to protest against Turkish villages on the Syrian border being bombed. The Russians are taking the matter seriously, but said it was too early to draw conclusions.
But
today's event is the blow that has been given to us in our back by the accomplices of terrorists.
In line with the military rules of engagement, Turkish authorities repeatedly warned an unidentified aircraft that they were 15 kilometers or less away from the border. The aircraft didn't heed the warnings. Turkey is a member of NATO, and at its request, an extraordinary meeting of the NATO was called to explain the action. Meanwhile, the United Kingdom, which joined forces with France on Monday, is expected to start airstrikes on ISIS within a week.
Priorities are to deter state-based threats, to tackle terrorism, and I can tell the House today that we put in place a significant new contingency plan to deal with major terrorist attacks.
French President François Hollande will meet US President Barack Obama at the White House, a priority meeting on Obama's return from a 10-day tour of Asia to discuss ways to confront the scourge of terrorism and coordinate US efforts to assist France's probe into the Paris attacks. He's also scheduled to meet German Chancellor Angela Merkel, Italy's Matteo Renzi, and Russian President Vladimir Putin this week. French police found a suicide bomb belt in a bin in a Paris suburb, Montrouge. They sealed the area. The belt was found without a detonator near where Paris attacks suspect Salah Abdeslam was traced to on the night of the attacks. The French continue to join forces within Europe to destroy Daesh, the Arabic name for ISIS. EU Council President Donald Tusk met François Hollande at the Elysee Palace, a meeting focused on tightening borders. Meanwhile, EU capital Brussels and the rest of Belgium remains on high alert for at least another 6 days. Belgian authorities have charged a fourth suspect with terrorism offences related to the 13th November assault on Paris. Belgian Prime Minister Charles Michel believes Brussels still faces risks that are severe enough to merit the highest threat level. The US has issued a worldwide travel alert, warning its citizens of the risks of travelling because of increased terror threats. With respect to India, a report drawn up with the help of MI6 and CIA and some Arab countries and shared at the topmost level of the government of India says in the ISIS, Indian, Pakistani, African and Bangladeshi fighters are considered inferior to Arab fighters and are generally tricked into carrying out suicide bombings. Newsnight Desk, DD News.